3 losses in a row. Then a fourth. Your hands are a little tighter on the mouse than they were an hour ago. Your jaw is clenched. You're refreshing the chart every 4 seconds, even though nothing new is going to happen in 4 seconds. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice is whispering the most dangerous sentence in all of trading. I need to make this back. If you've ever heard that voice, you already know where this story goes. You know because you've lived it. The losing streak that started as a bad week and ended as a blown account. The one more trade that turned into 10. The plan you swore you'd follow, abandoned the moment it actually cost you something to follow it. Here's the truth nobody tells you when you start trading. The market doesn't destroy accounts. Fear does. Revenge does. Ego does. The market just sits there, indifferent, doing what markets do, moving up, moving down, moving sideways, completely unaware that you exist. Today, we're going to talk about the single most underrated skill in trading, the one that separates the traders who survive for decades from the ones who flame out in 6 months. It's not a better strategy, it's not a smarter indicator. It's the ability to stay calm during a losing streak. And by the end of this, you're going to understand not just why that matters, but exactly how to build that calm, piece by piece, like a skill, because that's exactly what it is. Part 1. Why losing streaks are inevitable, and why that's good news. Let's start with something that might sound strange. Losing streaks are not a sign that something is wrong with you. They are a mathematical certainty. If you have a trading strategy with a 60% win rate, which, by the way, is an excellent win rate that most professional traders would be thrilled to have, you will still lose 5, 6, sometimes 7 trades in a row at some point if you trade long enough. That's not bad luck. That's not a flaw in your system. That's just probability doing what probability does. Think about flipping a coin. If you flip a coin 10 times, you expect roughly 5 heads and 5 tails. But expect doesn't mean guaranteed in perfect order. Sometimes you'll get heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, heads, tails, tails, heads, heads. And sometimes, just by chance, you'll get 4 or 5 tails in a row. The coin isn't broken. The odds haven't changed. It's just how randomness behaves in the real world in short samples. Trading is the same. Even a strategy with real statistical edge will produce clusters of losses. This is called variance, and if you don't understand variance, you will misinterpret every losing streak as evidence that you're doing something wrong, even when you're doing everything right. This is the first mental shift you need to make. A losing streak is not automatically a signal to change your strategy. It might be, but it might also just be the natural expected texture of trading with any real edge. The trader who panics and abandons a sound strategy after 4 losses is often abandoning it right before the statistical edge was about to play out in their favor again. So the first piece of staying calm isn't a breathing technique or a mantra. It's understanding, deep in your bones, that losing streaks are part of the deal. You didn't sign up for a business with guaranteed daily wins. You signed up for a business with a statistical edge that plays out over hundreds and thousands of trades. And inside that long run, there will be stretches that feel brutal. Professional poker players understand this better than almost anyone. A great poker player can make all the right decisions and still lose a hand, because the outcome of any single hand involves chance. What separates the professional from the amateur isn't that the professional wins every hand, it's that the professional judges their performance by the quality of their decisions, not by the result of any one hand. Traders need to adopt that exact same mindset. Part 2. What actually happens in your brain during a losing streak? To beat something, you need to understand it. So let's look at what's actually happening physiologically and psychologically when you're in the middle of a losing streak. When you take a loss, especially a loss that feels unfair or that comes right after another loss, your brain's threat detection system activates. This is the amygdala, the small almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain that's responsible for processing fear and triggering the fight or flight response. Evolutionarily, this system was built to help you survive real physical threats: a lion in the grass, a fall from a cliff, a sudden loud noise. The problem is that your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a lion and a red candle on a chart. To your ancient nervous system, a loss on your trading account can register as a genuine threat to your survival. Your heart rate increases, cortisol and adrenaline flood your bloodstream. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational, deliberate, big-picture part of your brain that's responsible for patience, planning, and long-term thinking, literally loses processing power as blood flow gets redirected to more primitive survival circuits. This explains almost every classic trading mistake. Revenge trading, jumping back into the market immediately after a loss to get it back, is the fight response. Your brain wants to attack the thing that hurt it. Freezing up, missing good setups, or closing winning trades too early out of fear, that's the flight response. Your brain wants to get away from risk entirely, even risk that's statistically in your favor. Doubling position size to recover losses faster. That's your brain trying to resolve the discomfort of the loss as quickly as possible, prioritizing the feeling of fixing it now over the long-term math of the decision. None of this makes you weak or disingenuous as a person. It makes you human. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. The problem is that the environment it evolved for, physical survival, is completely different from the environment you're operating in now, which requires patience, statistical thinking, and emotional regulation over long stretches of uncertainty. Once you understand this, something powerful happens. You stop judging yourself so harshly for feeling anxious or angry during a drawdown. You recognize it as biology, not failure. And that recognition alone takes some of the emotional charge out of the moment. Part 3. The difference between professionals and amateurs. If you spend time studying traders who last, the ones who are still standing after 10, 20, 30 years, you'll notice something interesting. They almost never talk about losing streaks as if they were personal failures. They talk about them the way a surgeon talks about a difficult procedure, or the way an airline pilot talks about turbulence, as expected operational condition to be managed, not an emergency to be feared. Amateurs treat every loss as information about themselves. I lost, therefore I'm bad at this. I lost again, therefore I'm terrible at this. I've lost 5 times in a row, therefore I should quit, or I should completely change everything about how I trade right now, immediately. Professionals treat losses as information about probability. I lost, let me check, did I follow my process? Yes, then this is simply a losing trade inside a strategy with positive expectancy, and I would take the exact same trade again given the same setup. This distinction is everything. It's the difference between identity and process. When you tie your identity to your trading results, every loss becomes an attack on who you are. You lose money and you feel stupid, weak, disingenuous, like the market has passed some kind of judgment on your worth. That emotional spiral is exhausting, and exhausted, emotionally depleted people make worse decisions. When you tie your identity to your process, to whether you followed your rules, managed your risk, and executed your plan, the outcome of any single trade stops being a referendum on your character. A loss becomes just data, sometimes uncomfortable data, sure, but data, not a verdict. This is why so many trading psychology coaches will tell you to grade your trades not by profit and loss, but by adherence to your rules. Did you follow your entry criteria? Did you size the position correctly? Did you honor your stop loss? If yes, that's a good trade, even if it lost money. If no, that's a bad trade, even if it happened to win. This might sound almost too simple, but try it for even 1 week and you'll notice the emotional temperature of your trading drop significantly. You start reacting to your own behavior, which you can control, instead of reacting to market outcomes, which you cannot. Part 4. The practical toolkit for staying calm. Understanding the psychology is step 1, but understanding alone doesn't stop your hands from shaking during a losing streak. You need practical tools, concrete things you actually do in the moment. Here are the ones that matter most. 1. Define your circuit breaker before you need it. The single most effective tool against a spiraling losing streak is a pre-committed circuit breaker, a hard rule, decided in advance, calm state of mind that tells you when to stop trading for the day or the week. This might be a maximum daily loss, say 2% of your account. It might be a maximum number of consecutive losing trades, say 3 in a row triggers a mandatory break. Whatever the number is, the power isn't in the specific threshold. The power is in the fact that you decided it before you were emotionally compromised, so that in the heat of the moment, you don't have to make a good decision, you just have to follow the decision your calmer self already made for you. Think of it like Ulysses tying himself to the mast before he sails past the sirens. He doesn't trust himself to resist the song in the moment, so he removes his own ability to choose. Your circuit breaker does the same thing for your trading account. 2. Separate the trading session from the reacting session. One of the most damaging habits in trading is making decisions about your strategy while you're still emotionally inside a losing streak. Don't evaluate your system. Don't decide to change your risk. Don't decide to quit trading forever in the same hour you took your 4th loss. Give yourself a mandatory cooling-off period, even just 24 hours between the emotional event and any strategic decision. Journal what happened. Step away from the screen, go for a walk, work out, sleep on it. Then, in a calmer state the next day, look at your trades with fresh eyes and ask, was this variance or was this a genuine flaw in my approach? You'll be shocked at how different a losing streak looks the morning after compared to how it looked in the moment. 3. Reduce size, don't stop entirely. There's a middle path between trade at full size and stop trading completely that a lot of traders overlook. Cutting your position size dramatically during a rough patch without pulling yourself out of the market entirely. This does 2 things. First, it protects your capital. Smaller size means smaller damage while you're not at your best. Second, and just as important, it protects your confidence. If you stop trading entirely during a losing streak, you never get the chance to rebuild trust in your process through actual, lived experience. But if you keep trading at a fraction of your normal size, you can start stacking small wins, or even just well-executed trades regardless of outcome, that slowly rebuild your emotional equilibrium. Some professional trading firms have this built directly into their risk management systems. A trader who hits a certain drawdown threshold is automatically moved to reduced size until they demonstrate consistency again. You can build this same discipline into your own solo trading. 4. Use physiological tools, not just mental ones. Remember what we talked about earlier, that a losing streak triggers a real physical stress response in your body. That means some of the most effective tools for managing it aren't purely mental, they're physiological. Slow, deliberate breathing, inhaling for a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling for a count of 6, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that counteracts the fight or flight response. Just 90 seconds of this kind of breathing, done before you look at the next chart, can measurably lower your heart rate and bring blood flow back to your prefrontal cortex.
Stepping away from your desk and moving your body, even just standing up and stretching or walking around the block, burns off some of the cortisol and adrenaline that are still circulating after a stressful loss. You are quite literally giving your body a way to complete the stress cycle, instead of sitting frozen at your desk while your nervous system stays activated. This isn't soft, feel-good advice. This is basic physiology, and traders who use it consistently make measurably better decisions than traders who try to white-knuckle it through pure willpower. 5. Keep a losing streak journal. Most traders journal their wins in detail and barely touch their losses beyond noting the dollar amount. Flip that. Your losing streaks are where the real data lives. After a rough stretch, write down, what was I feeling? What did I want to do in the moment? What did I actually do? Was it aligned with my rules? What would I tell a friend who came to me with this exact situation? Over time, this journal becomes a mirror. You'll start to notice your own patterns. Maybe you tend to revenge trade specifically after the third loss, not the first or second. Maybe your worst decisions come late in the trading day when you're tired. Once you can see the pattern in black and white, it becomes something you can plan around instead of something that ambushes you every single time as if it were happening for the first time. 6. Zoom out, literally. When you're deep in a losing streak, your entire field of vision narrows to the last few trades. Zoom out on purpose. Pull up your full equity curve over the last 6 months or the last year. Look at how small this current losing streak actually is in the context of your longer-term trajectory. This isn't about pretending the losses don't matter. It's about restoring accurate perspective. A 5-trade losing streak inside a strategy that's been profitable for 18 months is a very different psychological event than 5 losses viewed in total isolation, as if they were the entire story. Part 5. Reframing what calm actually means. There's a common misconception that staying calm during a losing streak means feeling nothing, some kind of stoic, robotic indifference to money disappearing from your account. That's not realistic, and honestly, it's not even desirable. If you felt genuinely nothing while losing real money, that would be its own red flag. Real calm isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of emotion without it controlling your behavior. You can feel frustrated, disappointed, even a little scared, and still execute your next trade exactly according to your plan. That's not suppression, that's regulation. And regulation is a trainable skill, not a fixed personality trait you either have or don't have. Think about elite athletes. A basketball player who just missed 3 free throws in a row still feels the sting of it. Their heart is probably still elevated, but their training kicks in, their routine kicks in, and they step up to the 4th free throw with the same mechanics they've drilled thousands of times, because the process doesn't depend on how they feel in that moment. It depends on preparation. That's the target for traders too. Not the absence of feeling, but a process robust enough that your feelings don't get to drive the car. Part 6. When a losing streak actually is telling you something. Everything we've covered so far is about not overreacting to normal variance, but it would be irresponsible to pretend that every losing streak is just noise. Sometimes a losing streak really is telling you something important, and staying calm doesn't mean staying blind. Here's how to tell the difference. Ask yourself honestly, did I follow my own rules on every single one of these losing trades? If the honest answer is no, if you were skipping your usual confirmation signals, sizing up impulsively, or trading setups outside your normal criteria, then this isn't pure variance. This is you deviating from a tested process, and the losing streak is at least partly a symptom of that, not just bad luck. Has the underlying market environment shifted? Strategies that work beautifully in a trending market can struggle badly in a choppy, range-bound one, and vice versa. A string of losses that coincides with a clear regime change in volatility or trend structure might be telling you to adjust your approach to current conditions, not that your overall methodology is broken. Is the sample size large enough to actually mean something? 5 losses is well within the range of normal variance for most strategies. 50 losses out of your last 80 trades with a strategy that's supposed to win 55% of the time is a very different statistical situation and deserves real scrutiny. The goal isn't blind faith in your strategy no matter what happens. The goal is calibrated confidence, trusting your process enough not to panic after a normal cluster of losses, while still being honest enough with yourself to investigate when the data genuinely suggests something is changed. Part 7. Building the identity of a trader who can handle this. Ultimately, staying calm during a losing streak isn't just a set of techniques you deploy in the moment. It's an identity you build over time, trade after trade, streak after streak. Every time you take a loss and respond to it with discipline instead of panic, sticking to your plan, respecting your circuit breakers, journaling honestly instead of spiraling, you're not just protecting your account balance in that moment, you're casting a vote for the kind of trader you're becoming. And every time you respond with panic and revenge trading, you're casting a vote the other way, reinforcing the exact pattern you're trying to break. This is slow work. Nobody becomes unshakable after one losing streak handled well. But brick by brick, decision by decision, you build a track record with yourself. Real evidence, not just wishful thinking, that you can go through a rough stretch and come out the other side with your account and your discipline intact. And that track record becomes the foundation of genuine confidence, the kind that doesn't crack the moment the market gets uncomfortable. The traders who last in this business aren't the ones who never have losing streaks. There's no such trader. The ones who last are the ones who've made peace with the fact that losing streaks are simply part of the terrain, and who've built, deliberately and patiently, the tools to walk through that terrain without losing themselves along the way. So the next time you're staring at 4 losses in a row, and that voice in your head starts whispering that you need to make it back right now, remember what's actually happening. Your amygdala is doing its ancient job. Your account is experiencing normal variance. And you have a choice in that exact moment about which trader you want to be. Calm isn't something that happens to you. It's something you build, one disciplined decision at a time.